Good evening. I hope you're doing well and ready to go. So we just kindly confirm in the chat that you've been able to download the software so that we're all moving on the same page. So if you have, just kindly type in the chat so that we're able to know. Okay, Edgar says not yet. Okay, who has downloaded? Who else has not downloaded? Just kindly type in the chat so that you're able to track and know. And also, if you're experiencing any challenges, you can also highlight here so that we can be able to know. Have you all downloaded the software other than Edgar? Kindly confirm, important. Martin, did you download? Did you manage to download? Okay, downloaded successfully. And then there's someone by the name MK. Okay, downloaded successfully. Richard. Richard. Second calling. Okay, Washira. Okay.
I've been able to download.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so it's not something, anyone who encountered a challenge, maybe anyone who encountered a challenge while downloading so that you be able to move together. Okay. So I assume silence means like no one encountered a challenge. So today will be very simple. We'll just try to understand how the software is structured. So if you've used any Microsoft Office product, this one should be an easy one to be able to navigate. So it's only like the interface is quite different if you're a first user. So if you've downloaded Power BI, this is the first window you'll be able to encounter. So you have a home page, then you have the open button here. So if you have existing reports, you can still be able to open them from here. If you have a Power BI service account, you can sign in or sign out from here. So mine is already signed in. Then you have a button here for options and settings, then about. So about gives you like capability to be able to interact with Power BI. To be able to interact with Power BI on its own, and just to be able to get to know other features. So I'll show you about the about function enables you to be able to see things around the version of the current Power BI that you've downloaded, that you're using. I think the user ID, the session ID, I think those are not very relevant. So for you to be able to come to this window, you can click either. If you click blank report, it will still bring you to this particular page, And so on this particular page, what we are able to see are a couple of things. We can be able to see you have a home page. So on the home page, you have the formatting option. So you have the cut, copy, paste, and the format painter, which will be able to see how they work later. Basically, just to enable you to do the formatting for your report. And then you have the get data. So all this particular tab over here enables you to be able to pull data and also like bring data or import data into Power BI. So this you can import data from an Excel workbook, one Lake catalog, a SQL server. You can also be able to enter data to a table by just trying to copy and paste data on the table. You can import data from what you're calling, you can connect it to a Dataverse endpoint, which is a SQL endpoint, where you can also be able to get data. And also now this provides you to be able to see any recent data connections that you've been able to make. So if you've used Power BI for some time and there's some recent data sources that you connected to, it will be able to show down on this particular drop down over here. So let me just close that. So if you come to this get data, you'll be able to find all these options that we've been able to see. So this get data enables you to be able to import data into Excel. So these are formats that are supported. So if you go to more, you'll be able to see like everything that is supported. So you have all that entails everything. Then you have now the breakdown. If it's a file, you'll be able to see the file formats that are supported for import, for you to import data into your Power BI. And then you go to database. So for the database, basically, you'll be able to see all the database frameworks that are supported for importing data to Power BI. So you can be able to see there's Google BigQuery here, there's Postgres, there's MySQL, there's SQL Server. Even if you have your database on Access, you can still be able to connect it to Power BI, and all these that are listed here, depending on whatever you're using. MongoDB, I'm just trying to mention maybe those ones that are commonly used, so that we can be able to relate to them. And then you also have what you're calling Microsoft Fabric. So Power BI has evolved into what you're calling Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric entails, okay, it's like an end-to-end tool that supports all the analytics functions or the data functions for Microsoft environment. So say, for example, initially you used to have data engineering works being handled using and also like some of these lake houses that were stored like on a different tool on Power BI. So that has since changed, and now this is now being utilized under this what you're calling Microsoft Fabric over here. So that is like an add. It's also like a winning point for us. And then you can also be able to see things like uh, yeah, you can also be able to see like Microsoft Power Platform, also being which has evolved also, and you can also be able to pull your data from there. If you are using Azure, again, all the Azure, so this is like dedicated to Azure connectors. So these are all what you can call connectors. Then we talked about ERPs. ERPs are basically enterprise resource planning softwares. So things like Dynamics 365. So the person who was asking about connecting data from Office Dynamics. So the Business Central. So this is the connector over here. So we'll just choose if you're using Business Central 365 that is hosted by Microsoft, you'll use this connector. If you're using this other one, that is hosted on premise, you'll also click on premise and you'll be able to connect. So I talked also about QuickBooks. QuickBooks also has a connector down here. You can also be able to connect your data from QuickBooks over here. If you have if you have data sitting on Google Analytics, again, you have the connector here. You'll just click on this and then click connect, and then you'll be redirected on how the connector works, most likely putting in the credentials, basically the username and the password. Which other one is familiar here? We have Salesforce as well. Yeah, Salesforce reports or objects. You can also be able to utilize it. Which other one? I think those are the major ones. No. For these other ones, you can still be able to explore if you have data and data is coming from, okay, Viva Insights as well. If you have data that is stored in either of these ERPs that are listed here, or maybe some of these products that are listed here, you'll just click on the connector, and then you'll be able to see how it will most likely prompt you to be able to put in credentials for you to be able to access. So say, for example, maybe Business Central, if I clicked on connect, yeah, So this is what it will do. It will ask me for, it will ask me to be able to sign in. So that is just now the process. Should be very easy. And then, yeah, we also have data coming from other sources. So these other sources, again, that are supported are also listed here. So if you're having data from an O data feed, a SharePoint list, your data is maybe on an R script, a Python script, yeah, Google Sheets. Google Sheets, again, you can also be able to link it here. You can connect your data from Google Sheets. Again, it will still do the same thing. You just click on, maybe if you want to import. So Google Sheets is common, so we can try. So you click on connect. And then it will ask you for the URL for your Google Sheet. So you'll just paste it here and click OK. Then it will prompt you to be able to take you to the web where you'll be able to authenticate this connector. So that is how it works, and you'll load your data. But if it's data coming from your personal computer, just say, for example, it's an Excel workbook, you just click on Excel workbook, and then it takes you to where your data is stored. And then you'll double click on the data, click open, and it will import your data. So we'll also be able to explore how that works in the next, in the next class, possibly. And then there's also here where we have the queries. So here on the queries, you have two very important things here that are happening. So this one for transform data. So we talked about something called the Power Query Editor. So for you to be able to open the Power Query Editor, you have to click here on transform data, and then it will open another window. So the other window that opens looks something like this. So this Power Query Editor is the one that we are talking about. It enables you to do the data cleaning. So yeah, here it is. You can see it. So this Power Query Editor window enables you to do data cleaning, to be able to transform your data, putting it into the right shape and format for your analysis. So we'll also be able to explore this once you load in some data. So you can be able to see most of these buttons have been grayed out because we literally do not have data here. But I think before in this class, we'll try to put in some data so that we can be able to see how that works. So yeah, we'll be able to explore that. So this is the Power Query Editor. We'll be able to see its functionality, how you can be able to input data, how you can be able to split maybe columns, how you can be able to check maybe to transform maybe your first row headers, need to be able to replace maybe certain values that are not consistent in your data. If you want to merge your queries, if you want to append your queries, if you want to combine files. This text analytics and vision, I think, unless you have a very the premium license, it's good. If you have the text analytics, it's good. It's very good because you can be able to input what you're calling maybe and what we say unstructured data. Say for example, you have lots of text and you want to be able just to get some insights to your text. So if you have a premium license, you can also be able to enjoy some of those capabilities. Transform, it also, so this is on the Power Query Editor. So you'll be able to see, you can unpivot columns, you can check, you can change the data types for your columns in your data set. You can be able to group by, you can be able to split. You can also be able to add columns. So say, for example, your data is coming in, maybe your columns are not formatted the way you want and you want to correct something, can be able to create custom columns. So maybe, for example, you have a column that has maybe the price and the quantities, and you want to come up with a column that is now calculating the total sales amount. This is now where you can be able to utilize this functionality of adding a column. Then you have conditional columns. So maybe you've realized maybe maybe you need to create a conditional column that checks maybe an existing column, and it's able now to check and put in a condition so that maybe, for example, your data came in and you had maybe countries, and now you have maybe another data set somewhere sitting somewhere that is now telling you about the regions, and you just want to put it all together as a new column. Again, you can still be able to work it out over here. View majorly looks at trying to help you to be able to understand your column. So the column distribution, the column profile, the column quality, these are just majorly things to do with data cleaning, which you shall be able to look at once you load some data. Then, okay, the tools, more about diagnostics. Not okay, I haven't utilized it much, so you can explore. Then there's help. This help button basically gives you some learner notes. So if you want to read more about whatever Power BI is, maybe after this lesson, you want to be able to understand more functionality about Power BI. There's so much documentation here, some training videos. You can also be able to submit an idea, community galleries, and also samples of some of the reports in Power BI. So you can be able to explore this to be able to learn more. So if you're on the Power Query Editor window, I think the moment you open the Power Query Editor window, it normally displays like two Power BI windows. So it's still maybe the same report, but now the Power Query Editor window just pops up to help you do transformation onto your data. But so the moment you're done, making your changes, you have to click on this button to close and apply, or just apply if you don't want to close it yet, so that those changes are able to take effect to your report that you'll be building. So this is like close and apply means you'll do the same thing. So it will close the Power Query Editor window and it will apply the changes that you'll have made to your data. Then also here on the queries, you have the refresh button. So remember, if you are linking your Power BI maybe to a live data source, it means like your data will keep changing. But remember, what you're using is Power BI desktop. So desktop means it's hosted maybe in an offline mode on your computer. So for you to be able to pick the latest changes onto your report that are coming from that data source, we'll be able to utilize this refresh button so that it enables us to pick the latest changes to your data. So just the way the name is called, it's a refresh button. So you can be able to refresh. Okay, this new visual, you can add a visual to your report. So all the visuals that you can add to your report are these ones. So visuals are basically the charts, the graphs that you need to be able to use in your report. So this one is just majorly, okay, it's here. It's here you can be able to add, but majorly all the visuals that are utilized, you can be able to find them. We'll be able to see them over here, this visualization tab over here. Text box, just the way any text box you've been able to use in any Office, Microsoft Office product. So basically, just if you want to be able to write maybe a title to your report, so this is what you utilize, because these are just visualizations on the other end that was showing you. So the visuals don't have like a visual that will enable you to be able to write. But so for you to be able to come to this, you can be able to utilize this. Yeah, you can be able to utilize this text box if you want to add maybe a title to your report or something, so that you have that level of maybe in like if someone is going through your report, they can easily be able to see. Then more visuals, still this just the visualization. So you can be able also to download visuals. Still the same thing I'll show you over here. So this button is still on these three dots over here. So you can be able to get visuals, and you can also be able to import visuals from like the online repository. So you can get more visuals. So maybe you're looking for a visualization or a chart that is not already existing on the charts that come here by default. So you'll just come to here, get more visuals, and then it will take you to a visual store, a Power BI visual stores, and then you can be able to come. So if you're looking at something that can present, maybe say change over time, you just click and then you try and search and see which one works for you. Once you're able to pick on it, you just click on it, and then you'll need to be able to click on add so that it's able to appear in your Power BI window. I think it needs to be online. So you just, so if you're not connected to the internet, you need to be able to see this. So it will show you a sample, it will show you how the visual works. So you can be able to see this, how the visual works. these are the capabilities of that particular visual. So you'll be able to see. So this is like a calendar. Yeah, it's a calendar. So it's able to show you how you're able to plan your stuff over time. So if you're creating maybe a dashboard that is just planning about stuff, maybe you have details of each and every meeting, they're clustered on a date. So you can be able to put in just here into Power BI and you'll be able to create. So someone going to your dashboard, they can easily be able to see which activities happened on that specific day, or maybe activities that are coming up. So that is basically an example. So if you click add, so it will be added over here as a visual that you've been able to download. Then here the calculations, we talked about using DAX functions to be able to come up with maybe some computation. So we'll be able to also see what does it mean when we talk about creating a measure, what a measure is. Then the sensitivity, again here, just trying to be able to look at, okay, I haven't utilized this much, so you can read about it. Look at publish. So publish is also not very active because we don't have any report we've been able to build, but this is now like, which now enables you to be able to push your report to what we are calling the Power BI service. Especially if you have an account that you can be able to utilize. So if you have an account already, an existing account already, you will just click on this and it will be able to publish to your organization's account. Of course, Copilot AI, you can still be able to utilize AI over here to your workspace. So you can be able to utilize Copilot to enable you. Okay, mine isn't enabled yet. It means I have to enable it within the organization. But Copilot enables you to, it's like an AI, just the same AI assistant we have on our Windows computers. It's the same one that we have here. So if you're having a challenge about maybe something on Power BI, maybe a DAX function that you clearly don't understand, yeah, you'll just click on this Copilot. If it's enabled, you can easily be able to utilize it to help you go around your analytics into Power BI. Then the insert, I think some of these are repeated, but say, for example, this new page just enables you to be able, so you can be able to have a dashboard that has multiple pages it has multiple pages. So it enables you just to be able to navigate. So I can click on this plus to add a new page, but also if I go to insert, I can also click here on a new blank page and it will add a new page over here. This visual and more visuals, we've talked about it. The Q&A. So Q&A, this one is also a visual, but you see these are AI-enabled visuals. You can be able to ask it about something and it will be able to respond to you. So we'll also be able to see that once we're able to import data. It's this same visual over here. And also the narrative, this is also like an AI-enabled visual. So you just add like an auto-generated summary of insights to your report once you've been able to build it. This is just the integration of Power Platform. So if you're using Office maybe 365 and you have like you have some of your Power Apps already coming in, maybe some data or something, you can easily be able to create integration over here. Text box, I think I've already mentioned, just to enable you to be able to add maybe context to your report. If you want to write maybe something about your report, you just add this text box and you're able to add maybe your narrative over here that is not AI generated, that is. Then you have buttons. So buttons just enable you to be able to make your report easy to navigate. So say, for example, if I added this left arrow here and then I gave it an action. So it means it will help me to go back. Yeah, so I need to give my button an action. So say, for example, if I activate this back, so the moment I come to my report and that is existing, so it will take me back to the previous page. So that is how a button works. So we've inserted a button over here for that. Then there also are a couple of buttons. If I wanted to add maybe a page navigator, I can add it. So a page navigator basically enables me to have the flexibility. It's also a button, gives me the flexibility to be able to navigate through different pages. So say, for example, I'm moving from page one, I'm on page one and I want to move to page two. So yeah, you normally have, when you publish your dashboard, you'll have that pop up over here. But again, if you want to include it on your report so that someone doesn't have to like click maybe somewhere so that it pops up and then they navigate to the next page, you can include your page navigate over here so that it's easy for them to navigate. So that's how buttons work. Shapes, again, if you want to put in a shape, maybe a specific shape just to add maybe a specific context to your report, again, you have these types of shapes enabled here. Then an image basically, say for example, you have a logo, and you want to add a logo to your report. So this is just that gives you that particular level of capability to be able to add a logo to your report. So you just click on add image and then you locate where your image is stored. The beauty about it, the moment you've been able to click to add the image, it will be able to populate that image and store it on this. So this is called a canvas. So this page here is called the canvas. And then you go to modeling. Modeling speaks about creating, modeling just trying to be able to have a certain level of communication. So if you have multiple tables, the way you talked about, maybe you have an orders table, and then you have maybe a payments table, maybe you have maybe another table that carries in maybe the customer information. So this modeling tab enables you now to first create relationships between your different tables, so that when you're creating your report on the canvas here, when you create a report on the canvas, that particular report will be interactive irrespective of which table you are picking your data from. So if you're picking your data from maybe a specific table, and you've not created that particular relationship, so the table wouldn't, like that report wouldn't be interactive. Then this creating a new measure, a new table, a new column, all these are just things to enhance your report. So a new measure basically is an aggregation. When you talk about a new column, basically you are trying to come up with a new column. So you can still be able to create your column on the Power BI window itself outside the Power Query editor. New table, you can also be able to create a table from your existing table by writing what you're calling a DAX function. So maybe you want to just create, you have an existing table about maybe your customers, but you want a subset of that table. So you can be able to utilize this and you just create a table, you write a function that will be able to get maybe the specific type of customers that you want to be able to see. Okay, if you have maybe a calendar table, if you have your tables, so you'll be able to realize once you import the data over here, we'll have the data coming in and being able to show the type of table that you have. So you can be able to mark the type of table that you have. Maybe if it's a calendar table, if it's just a data table, you will be able to make that. Change detection. Okay, I don't know about this. Anyway, you can read about it. Managing roles, you cannot. It's more about the security. Again, we'll also try to see. You can read about it. Then the Q&A setup, the linguistics. This around more about the Q&A visual. So you'll need to be able to tell it the type of language that you want it to use, the linguistic schema that you want it to be able to utilize when you're asking it some questions. Then the view, more about aesthetics around your report. So here, these are just what I can call themes that you can be able to utilize for your report. So you also have a theme gallery. So you can go to the theme gallery. Unfortunately, it takes me to an online version, an online page where you can be able to explore different themes that you can be able to utilize to use for your report. Then the page view. So here, okay, I'll show you how this works over time. So the page view basically enables you to be able to see. So say, for example, if you say you want a report to fit to width, look at how our canvas changes. So it fits everything to width, to the width of the page that you're currently on, then allows you to be able to scroll. If we go to the actual size, so this is the actual size of the page, depending on, I think I'll show you a certain setting, or you can be able to adjust the size of the canvas also, so that you're able to see. And then we have now the fit to page. Fit to page basically means you'll try to ensure that the report you're building just remains within that the level of page that you've been able to create it. Then we have the mobile layout. When we are talking about Power BI on Tuesday, I mentioned about a Power BI mobile app. So if you're curious enough, you've tried to download it. But even if you downloaded it, you wouldn't be able to see much because you're required to have maybe connect it to, if you have an organization, maybe license, you can easily be able to see how it works. But if you don't, again, you can't be able to see the reports because your reports, maybe you built them on the desktop. So the only way that these reports are available on the mobile app, it means they have to be on the Power BI service. So when you're building your reports again, so you can see how the report appears on the desktop. So majorly, we normally build the reports with assumption that most of the users that are looking at these reports maybe sit in the office and they look at these reports from their desktop. But again, once you've been able to build your report on the desktop, you can just change this to the mobile layout so that you're able to see how your reports appear. So by default, you have a way that it can, like Power BI Power BI itself will auto create the mobile layout for you, but you have the chance to be able to try and customize it to be able to better fit the needs of what you want your people to see and interact with your reports as they are on the go, like when they're using their mobile. So you have also that level of flexibility over here. So that is it. These page options, okay. I don't know. I've never used these grid lines, so I don't know how they work. But anyway, you can explore about this. Then filters. So filters are basically, you can be able to add certain level of filters to your report. So this is still the same as this. So these ones automatically come already pinned to this side of the screen. So you have the data, the visualization, and the filters. So you can be able to utilize this. These are just the buttons here enable you to be able to create your report and just how it's able to interact. So this bookmark and selection, you can also be able to create one page of a report, but it has bookmarks so that someone can easily be able to navigate through different bookmarks on your report. You can also be able to explore that to be able to see how this works, maybe once you're done with the course. Then you have the performance analyzer. So the performance analyzer enables you to be able to see how fast maybe your visuals are able to refresh, and it gives you like an insight so that you're able to see maybe if your report is taking too long to load, maybe someone might come to your report and then they'll get maybe impatient waiting for your visuals to load. So it just gives you an insight into that so that you can try and be able to see how to better speed up how your report opens up for different users. And then you can be able to look at how you can be able to sync different slicers. So slicers are like now page level filters to your report. These filters are report based, so you can be able to see. So you'll be able to see these filters on the report itself. So you can be able to have a report on the page. You can have a report that is able to filter across all the pages. So depending on the interactivity of your data, so this is how your filters will work. And also you have specifically, like if you want to have like a visual or maybe a chart and you just want it to have, so maybe for example, if I added a chart here, yeah, you can see, so there's also another filter that has come here that is now visual based. So just specific to that particular vision. But now when you talk about slicers, so slicers will now be what will be filtering. So these terms might sound a little bit not very friendly today, but the moment we start doing the work, like building the reports, we'll be able to better understand how they work. Yes, and then we have the optimize. So we've already talked about the performance analyzer and like how it works. So you can also be able to apply slicer buttons to your report. So we'll also be able to see how that works. And then we have optimization presets. So we can be able to see, like, this also just enables you to give you idea how you can be able to make your report to be faster and better like interact for your different like people. Then you also have here like a button that can easily help you to be able to refresh your visuals. So maybe you think your numbers are not very accurate because maybe certain visual has not been able to load. So you just click on this refresh visual so that it enables you to be able to refresh each and everything on your visual. You can also be able to pause the visual refreshes because maybe they're consuming resources. So that's also something to look at. This help, I think we had already talked about it when you're looking at the Power Query editor. So here it's just more about help, maybe a community and certain resources that you can easily be able to access if you want to be able to look at Power BI. So yes, so that's just an example of the entire, like what the Power BI window looks like. And then Power BI has what you're calling views. So let me minimize this so that you can be able to see it better. So this first view is the report view. So that's where we've been when I've been demonstrating each and everything to you. So on this particular report view, so this way we'll be able to build everything. This way we'll be able to build everything in terms of our report and our dashboard. So like it will be able to appear on this particular what I'm calling the canvas page. Then the second one, so you just navigate. So the second one here is called the table view. So we can't see anything. We can't see how beautiful it looks until you're able to load a data set. But I promise we'll load a data set before we finish the class today. So you can be able to see here. So the table view, basically, this is just somewhere you can be able to interact with the data that you've been able to import into Power BI and have like a look at it just to be able to see whether it's consistent, whether it meets the formats that you require and everything. So this is just like a data view for you that you can be able to appreciate what you've been able to bring in. It also has like some level of filters here at the top, so you can easily be able to filter through just to be able to understand whether the data is in the right shape and format. And then the model view. So we talked about modeling. So this is the model view because here is now you're able to create your relationship. So you can already see even like by this illustration here, you can be able to create, you can be able to link your different data sets by creating different types of relationships. If you have multiple tables that are bringing data to your report. And then recently they introduced this DAX query view. So the DAX query view, basically it's more like if you've heard about SQL or the structured query language, so you can be able to write here a DAX query. So that's why it's written a DAX query view. The same thing you have here. So you want to interact with the data, you maybe to need just to catch maybe a certain subset of your data to be able to understand whether it's answering to your question. You can easily be able to play around it over here if you're good with the DAX function queries. But the beauty about Power BI, it's more of it has a very good user interface. So you can still be able to play around it. So you wouldn't like require, if you're not good at, if you don't like writing so much codes, I think you can still be safe with Power BI and try to play around with whatever is offered on the user interface. Just try to build with that. But I think you need some DAX functions to be able to achieve a certain level of maybe metrics or maybe reports that you want to work on here in Power BI. So these are the 4 views, but majorly we'll work with these 3 over here, these 3. So most of the times I'll be asking you to switch to the report view, the table view, or the model view whenever maybe needed. And then also remember we talked about switching to the Power Query editor. So again, keep that at the back of your mind. These are things we'll really need. And then you might be asking yourself, so here at the bottom, I think I already explained everything. So you might be asking yourself, what is this? So we also have this particular specific views here on the right side of my screen, I believe. So this one here, here on the data. So once you've been able to load your data sets, all the data sets that you've been able to load into Power BI will appear over here. And then for visualization, basically, when you start now building your report, all the visuals that you will be doing, all these are the visualizations that you'll be utilizing. Again, remember, you're building your reports and stuff, so maybe you need to bring in maybe a pie chart. So this is where you'll be placing in your data points. So maybe you need to maybe see a chart that's showing maybe maybe the total revenue by maybe a certain maybe filter, maybe the total revenue generated by customer. So you'll need to, this way you'll be pulling in your values that you've been able to generate. So from the data, whatever is on the data now coming into the visuals that you'll be building over here. So that's how you're able to interact. And then of course, once you've been able to build your visuals, you'll ask yourself, maybe now you want to filter maybe by a specific thing on this visual. You don't want to see maybe blanks on this particular visual. So you can apply a visual level based filter here to this particular visual. So once you have the data, we'll be able to see how that works. If you want to apply maybe a filter just that is able to filter all the visuals that you'll have on this page. So you can have multiple visuals. So you can have multiple visuals just on the page, like these ones. Then maybe these, maybe we need to have a map. Maybe you need a tree map. So every visual that we'll need, then we'll be able to add in our data. But so this is basically determined by what you can say. You normally build like something like a mock-up dashboard before you start creating it, because now you need to understand how best will people be able to see the different types of visuals, and also based on the information that you want to display to your people. So the information that you display could come in form of KPIs, key performance indicators, maybe aggregated in different ways, the way I showed you on my dashboard. Yes, on Tuesday. So that is how we'll be able to see. So once you're able to come up with a structure, so we'll be able to see. So if this is how your visuals you want them to appear, so this how will just have your visuals appearing. So this is just a sample, but over time we'll be able to see once we start populating the data. So any questions up to this point? Any questions?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, did you when you mentioned when you talked about, maybe I missed it, reports, are there preset reports, for instance, whether it's finance type reports, scientific reports, things of that nature? Are there classifications or options you can select from depending on the data you're working with? Preset.
Okay, I'll see if there are no preset like reports, like just default reports. So it's up to you to be able to build into
Okay.
what you want, because like I believe each and every organization defines, they have their own what I can call a data dictionary that defines what they have. So you can't, okay, at the moment, we don't have, I haven't seen that. So you have just to build into your own report. The only thing that you can find maybe is maybe an online template that someone has already been able to build that will give you an idea of how to go about your report. But you have to build it on your own.
Okay, and then secondly, the, for trend analysis, these visualization tools, does this app give you the opportunity to forecast if it's a function of time, if your data set is a function of time? Does it have the capability of telling you a function of t plus x?
Yes, it has that function. So the moment the type of chart you select, especially like mostly on a line chart. So a line chart like this one, once you put in data, we'll be able to see. So you can be able to see, add further analysis to your visual. So this one will pop up some level of capability that will enable us to be able to see if we can be able to forecast. So based on the data that we'll have put in here, it will give us a capability to try and create a forecast. So we'll be able to define the length and period of the forecast. So it's not that complicated here. Like you'll have to define most of the stuff because it just picks like a normal regression function and tries to look at maybe the data that you've been able to feed into it. Then gives you like a forecast, an upper limit, the expected limit, and also the lower limit. So you can be able to work within the range of the limits that are provided for your forecast. If you have a time series data set, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome. Somebody else with a question? Thank you, Edgar, for your questions. Somebody else? Okay. If you have no questions, then I'll proceed. So I'm not gonna load in like a data set. So I'll look for a data set that we cannot use. But for today, I would like us to pick an example data set, sample data set. Yeah, so yeah, I think to respond to Edgar, you were talking about some sample reports. So if you click on these sample reports, it will take you to an online repository where you can be able to see something like this, just a sample. Maybe report over here on the Microsoft website. So these are like Microsoft website. So you can be able to see this just a sample report. And then so it's upon you yourself to be able now to go ahead and build your own. This is like not pre-built for you, but you'll be able to see. So let's look at a sample data set. So I need to load in a sample data set just to be able to demonstrate to you how some of these these menus will be able to show up. So this is like a financial sample data set. So let's be able to see. So this is how it looks like. So you can be able to preview. So it has the country, it has the product, you have a discount band, you have the unit number of units sold, the manufacturing price, the sales price, the gross sales, the discount, the sales, the COGS, the profit, the date, the month number, the month name, and the year. Then you have sheet one. Okay. I think sheet one is more of the same thing, so I don't think we'll load it. So I'll just load directly the data set so that you can try activate some of these tabs that were inactive to be able to see how it looks. So this is just a single data set. So yeah, just to help us to demonstrate. So it has only 700 rows. So when you talked about report view, so you can be able to see there's nothing. So we'll have to build our report here once you're able to define. So we'll be looking at our data set. So once you've been able to load your data set, you can easily be able to interact with what is in your data set over here. Yeah. So it has come. So you can be able to see. So you can be able to see the country. So maybe you're interested just to be able to see like then maybe United States of America. You wanted to see which ones had high discount. So you can still be able to see, and it will show you. Maybe you wanted to filter maybe for a specific product. Again, you can still be able to filter over here just to try and interact with the data. But if you're very good at writing the DAX query again, you can just come here and you're able to write your DAX query over here that will be able to evaluate through. But if you're not, you can still be able to utilize here just to be able to filter and understand how different values appear in your data set. So this is how you try to play around. And now you can see now the data tab here at the end has something. So you can see under the data tab, we have something we can be able now to show. So we can be able to show something. So if you wanted to see like, this is now a data set. So if you want to expand the data to be able to see the columns in that data, you'll just click here and you'll be able to see the different types of columns within your data. So these are all the columns within our data. So these cogs, this country, so it's ordered in the alphabet. So if you wanted to see maybe some more about the data, it means you have to go over here just to be able to have a feel about it. So even now, if you went to the Power Query editor, you should be able to see it interacting differently. So if you open the Power Query editor here, if you open the Power Query editor, you can now be able to see most of the things that had grayed out are now active. So you can be able to see if you wanted to just maybe choose a specific column, just click on choose a column. Then you can come highlight and pick maybe a specific column that you just want to be able to see. So that is the case. So if I wanted to see everything, I'll be able to see everything. If I wanted to see maybe to remove a specific column, you can still be able to remove columns. So it will pop up what you want to be able to remove. And also maybe you want to transform it. So all the options for transforming the data already here. So say for example, this column, we wanted it just to be, okay, instead of having a decimal place, we want it to have like a whole number. So we'll just change this to a whole number. Yeah, and everything changes over here. What else? Maybe the date. So if it was not a date, you will still be able to change this to detect the data type to be a date. So all these are some of the things we'll be looking at when you start now interacting with this particular data set on Power BI. We talked about text analytics, which also like a very, if you have like a premium license, okay, you see mine is already wants me to be able to provide license, so like a premium license, which I don't have, so that's why I can't continue with that. So I'll just click on apply changes so that I can close the Power Query editor window and go back to my normal Power BI window. So these are all the things you can be able to see. So refresh just enables you now to like refresh that data set to be able to pick new changes to your data. And so that is all from my end, unless we have any questions. Any questions, any comments? Any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, then I'll assume we are good. So this is just enough for today. I
Repeat
think.
that briefly.
Sorry?
You can repeat that briefly.
Which one specifically?
When you input the data and then how you develop the those visuals.
Okay, so we are not developing any visuals today, but I was just trying to demonstrate how, like where the data goes once you've been able to import it. But I'll be looking for a data set that we'll all be using. Because maybe it might be a challenge to get like I'll try to look at it at a data set that we can be able to utilize that will enable us to learn to get the most out of whatever our training will entail. So that's why I said I'll share a new data set. But this was just to demonstrate how you can be able to import data. I think this I imported it from the sample data over here. So to do it, so I can delete the data so that I show you the step again. So I'll just
Hello.
continue to
Hey,
delete.
hey, before you delete,
Yes.
hello. Before you
Yeah.
delete,
Yeah.
are you able to go back to the query and maybe do some manipulations? There's something I wanted to ask you on the steps. See, the query usually saves some the steps that you're following.
Okay.
When you make any change on the data,
These ones.
no, at one end, at the end of the file, it does
Mm-hmm.
keep the steps. You see, let's say like if you added a column, you removed a column, it does keep the steps that you followed to get the final data that you're loading.
The second. So this showed here on the advanced editor. So these are all the steps that we've been able to apply to our data set. So the first thing we've been able, like we did, was to change the data type. So the applied steps, just a second. My view here should show. Okay. Just a second. Okay, home.
Is it transform?
No, I understand. There's a step. Okay, not the queries. There's the applied steps that are normally shown here on the left. So I think, I don't know why my window is not showing that. Okay, but I understand what you're asking, but I can still access whatever I've been able to do here on the advanced editor. So I'll still be able to know whatever transformations I've been able to make over here. And I can be able to remove. Maybe the last thing I did, I changed like a column type from a decimal to like a whole number. So that's also like one thing I was able to do over here. Then I'm also able to remove the column called segment. So this is also a change I did. So if you come to my data right now, there's no segment column because I removed it. So I can still be able to access all those changes over here. But I'll try to see if someone is opening their Power Query editor, they can still be able to see the applied steps somewhere here on the right. Not sure why. Okay.
Well, on the advanced, that part where you've shown the advanced steps followed, are you able to return them back from those steps?
Yes, you can. So you'll just come here. Say, for example, on this one. So maybe, for example, I don't want to have this segment. So I can just remove this and remove that. Then I click on done. So, okay. Just a second. So here, change type 1. Change type 1. Okay, just yeah, you can still be able to go back to that. There I removed columns wasn't recognized. This one wasn't recognized. Yeah, so here needs to be the initial step here. I click done. Yeah, so the segment, we've been able to return the segment here. So you can still be able to undo.
Perfect. Thank you.
Someone
Can
else
you
had a question.
can you undo without deleting the code? Is there a simple icon?
Yeah, there's a simple icon. I think I'll need to figure out why my layout is this way. There's a way you'll need to be able to see the steps we've been able to apply here on your right. I'm wondering why mine is not showing. Okay. Yeah, here. So it's the query setting. So you can be able to see these are all the changes that you applied. So remember, I removed other columns. Okay, let me remove this column, then we'll be able to see. So I removed this segment, so I can insert the step just right after it. So this is now, I've been able to remove the segment. We don't have the segment, right? So if you don't have the segment, and maybe you realize maybe it's something that you'd removed, just click on this one to delete that step. So if you delete that step, and it will take you back to the segment. So if this step, like for example, we change the unit sold to an integer, the unit sold, where is it? This one, we changed it to an integer. and maybe initially it was a decimal. So if I remove this step again, you can be able to see we are back to having a decimal place. So this is a simpler way. It's on the query settings here. I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it answers mine. Yes, thanks.
Somebody else with a question?
Also, the other thing I also noticed, if you open the Excel on the query, doesn't behave like the normal Excel. Let's say like you can't insert the formulas on the Excel to create maybe another column with some figures. How can one go about it?
But here we don't create. That's why it's not like the same way you do it in Excel. So we'll come back to that in our next class. So that's why you have like new options of creating a new column here at the top. So if you wanted a new column, I'd use just a new column here, and then now here is where I need to use my DAX function to be able to create now the new column. So you can create your column from here, or you can create it from the Power Query editor. So depending on where you want it to appear from. So if you create it from here directly, it means this column will only be available in the Power BI window view alone. But if you create it from the Power Query editor, so even if you're creating your relationship, you can still be able to find that formula here so that you can be able to use that calculated. It's called a calculated column. You can be able to use that calculated column to be able to link it with other items within your report separately. So we'll be able to see that in the next class. Don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody else?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
How advanced is this in terms of if you pull data that does not make sense? Is there a way to interrogate it if something is off in your Excel file? Or is it just whatever you pull is that's it? Is there a way to
No,
to
there is.
analyze? Yeah.
There is, so if you came to the Power Query editor, so we'll be able to see. So if you come here to view, maybe you want to just check the column quality of your data. So it will tell you over here which values are valid within that column, which ones have errors, which ones are empty. This is just an example. And then on top of that, you can also be able to see, maybe for example, look at the column distribution to be able to tell maybe what are the distinct values in the column, how many unique values do you have in that particular column. So these are just some of the things to enable you. And then of course, if you come here to transform, say for example, we picked maybe a value here that was maybe an outlier, and you want to be able to replace it. So you can still click on this drop down here just to be able to see which numbers are not making sense. And once you're able to figure out which numbers they are, you can just highlight. Then you can use this replace function over here. So you can replace those specific values that you're not in, like that you want. So you'll be able to find maybe a value and you replace it. So say for example, I don't know, maybe these products. Okay, let me see how many they are. So you can be able to see maybe a product is labeled here and it's labeled using the wrong name and you want to change it. Maybe you can just search by that name. Maybe, for example, this product, this is the product name that we have, we want to replace it. So instead of having Montana, we want to call it milk. So we'll change that to milk. Click OK. So you can see everything that was having that name has been changed to milk. So that's just one way. And say, for example, we had our data coming in maybe using the country, and maybe you want to unpivot the column, so you can still unpivot the column. Unpivot, okay, you can pivot the column just to be able to see using the segment, and then you just click OK and see how the data appears. So let's see, we pivoted which column, the segment. So you can be able to see, I think here at the end, yeah. So you can be able to see the country has now gone into it's now instead it's a column name as opposed to all the countries have gone now to as column names as opposed to how they were appearing within the rows. But I can still remove this step just to go back to my original data set. Yeah. So that's just an example. You can still play around with this here on the Power Query editor just to be able to get your data as clean as possible. But the most advised thing will be if you're pulling your data maybe from a different data source, say SQL or something, you try to get it to the cleanest possible form before loading it, because I think Power BI might be limited to some extent to some functionalities, or maybe you might need to write very complex queries to be able to transform it if need be, to be able to find it into a right format that you can use now to build a dashboard. So you need to bring in as good quality data as possible, but still you also have some level of flexibility to be able to do it. So say, for example, if you wanted to merge this maybe data set with another data set, you can still be able to do it. So say, for example, let me try duplicate this. So I need to just duplicating it to be able to show you. So you want to be able to combine these data sets into one data set. So you can see the first data set has 700 rows, and we want to be able to just make this as one data set. So we realized you have this option to be able to append queries. So you'll just put in the first table and the second table, but you're appending it is as a new query. So we'll be able to build up a new data set called appended. You can still be able to rename this to new data. So remember we had 700 rows in the first one and 700 in the second one. So since we've done an append, we expect how many rows in this? Should be 1400. So the column profiling is limited to only showing 1000. Okay, we can still tell it to be able to profile the entire data set so that we're able to see how many rows there are. But if it can't show, okay, we can still use this one, the column distribution, to be able to tell which one has distinct values. Okay, there is none. Okay. Yeah, we can still use this column profile to be able to tell us. So you can see the total count here in this entire column is 1400. So it's correct. Any other question? Hey, if there are no questions, I'll request to end it here. Then I'll allow you guys to be able to, those who've not downloaded Power BI, kindly ensure you download it. Just go walk through it. Just try to understand where certain tabs are, how you can be able to maybe navigate to a certain window. Try to load the sample data set the way we've done it. Just learn how to do it. Then yeah, it's an assignment. You can also try to load in a data set of your own and try to see if you'll be able to manage. So if you're loading your data set normally, of course, you'll just go to get data. You can load some data from maybe an Excel workbook, or maybe data from maybe a web URL. Try to see if you can be able to manage. Once you're done, I think you'll be ready for the next class. So in the next class, I'll share the data set that we'll be using for the entire course, a data set that at least can relate to everyone, and a data set that can also enable us to be able to try and utilize most of the functionalities that we need to be able to learn for this particular class. So thank you very much for your time. Unless we have any questions, I'll hand over the meeting back to Joel.